Hello, welcome to another edition of Chopped Greens. I am your host, Philip Amerine, sitting alongside
Luke, Wright.
Hello, and welcome back from merry old England.
It was a fun time. Thanks for having me back.
How were the biscuits?
I didn't have any.
You didn't have any? How was your tea?
I didn't have any.
Fun fact, did you know all forms of tea are from the same tea leaf? It's just how you distill it. But green tea is the same as black tea, is the same as white tea, yellow tea.
I don't like to judge things based off of color, so I'll leave that to you.
You don't see color? You just taste color?
I don't even know how to respond to that, so I won't.
All right, sounds good. So, Since You've Been Gone is a great song by Kelly Clarkson. Yeah, that's what I had to... But Since You've Been Gone, there's been a lot of moves in the NBA, and that's what we're here to talk about. It all started with Chris Paul going to the Rockets.
Woo!
Now, okay, that's interesting. So, when he moved to the Rockets, even though it's not technically a free agent move, it was a sign-and trade, how does that reverberate for you within the Rockets organization?
I think that it is a very positive step forward.
Okay.
I think that is one of the things they needed was somebody other than James Harden who could facilitate the offense. And with Chris Paul getting older and older, he's still one of the best point guards in the league right now. I don't value him as much as some people do, but he is still one of the best. He can facilitate the offense. He won't play as good of defense as Patrick Beverley, in my opinion, but he's still going to play defense.
Very few is there a point guard in the NBA that plays as good of defense, as scrappy defense as Patrick Beverley. The only one, I feel like I always say him, but Mike Conley is the only one that even comes to mind as far as a defensive...
For the point guard position, I would...
Specifically the point guard position. Mm-hmm. Maybe Tony Allen for the shooting guard can cover point guard sometimes and switch off, but... and by the way, this is a good interjection. We do have Gary Boucher here on side comment.
Been a long time.
Yes. Even though it's not your podcast, stay in your lane.
Oh,
stay in your lane. No,
I
just had to go get some rice, and I'm back here.
Oh my God. What a spicy comment!
Wow,
from you.
Cross podcast burns.
Yeah, I know.
I'm loving it.
You can't reheat that in 3 minutes, Uncle Ben. No. Anyways, Gary will be here for side comments in case he starts to flip out or anything. We'll have you interject.
I will interject if someone says something egregious.
Okay.
Of course.
But overall, I like the move. I don't think that the Rockets really gave up, I think, like 4 players or something.
Yeah.
They gave up like 7, right? They gave up
I want to say 6 total players. A couple were really no-name bench players who didn't really do anything to begin with. Sam Dekker was a promising young talent, but again, with what the Rockets are trying to do, he still wasn't getting that many minutes, and he wasn't that productive. The 2 biggest members of that trade were Patrick Beverley, who you upgrade when you get Chris Paul, and then trying to remember.
Lou Williams was a big.
Lou Williams was another one, but with Eric Gordon, I don't think losing Lou Williams was that big of a deal. He did join the Rockets late last year. They'd already established themselves as a good team. So I think that is a good piece to move, while at the same time still not downgrading as a team overall.
Yeah, really this trade is a good precursor for me. I don't know how it benefits the team right now. Just the biggest concern for me is touches. And Chris Paul demands the ball. It's one of the reasons why when everybody says the Banana Boat crew is going to come together, I just highly doubt it, or at least all of them coming together. We're talking Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony. That's the boat, the Banana Boat.
Yep.
With Chris Paul and LeBron James, both of who love to hoard the ball, and it's one of the reasons why there was a rift reportedly between DeAndre Jordan and Chris Paul. Whenever you demand the ball that much, even if James Harden, he went through a metamorphosis this past year as a point guard in D'Antoni's system, which really elevated his stats, but on the same token, even though he's kind of matured as a player, gone through that maturation that's necessary for a player to truly grasp that ego to step aside and win for the betterment of the team, and in order to win and win playing team basketball. I don't know how much you can give away while still remaining true to your identity of wanting to shoot. So James Harden, even though he will step back and adhere to Chris Paul, and one of the few players I'm sure he would do that for, if you're, he's not going to give it up to Ryan Anderson, just, take it down the floor, just do your thing, I'll stand in the corner, shoot a 3 if you need me. No, Chris Paul is one of the few players that he can do that for. I still don't know, unless if they can somehow, D'Antoni's creative enough, and I'll give him offensive craftiness, if somehow he can create like a 2-unit show where James Harden mans the second team of the 6 of the bench players, and then Chris Paul will just man the starters, and James Harden will play for both, or they'll switch roles.
They'll definitely stagger the minutes so that they won't be playing with each other as much as your traditional starting 1 and 2. But also, I think that Chris Paul's in a unique position. He has never had a superstar backcourt player with him.
No, he's not.
And I think that this is the opportunity for him to show, like, hey, I'm older. This is his team. I don't mind not having the ball in my hand all the time as long as he's the one with the ball. And I think that's something
it's the same flip side of the coin from James Harden to Chris Paul. Who are you going to give it to? DeAndre Jordan? Blake Griffin has an arguable better ball handling than people give him credit for, but still, it's not to the degree with Chris Paul.
You're not going to have your power forward facilitating the offense that often.
Right.
So I think that it will be interesting to see how they mesh. Like you said, D'Antoni's an offensive genius. I'm sure he can figure things out from a schematic standpoint. It'll be, like you said, how much give and take will there be between Paul and Harden? In the end, this is Harden's team, and I do think that he needs the final, not necessarily the final say, but he needs to be the one to have the ball in crunch time.
So there were 3 major trades that went down in this NBA quote-unquote offseason. Jimmy Butler, Paul George, Chris Paul. For the and I think it's been a relevant theme that each one of these superstars, Paul George and Chris Paul both only had 1 year left on their deals. Mm-hmm. So it was a desperation move where, in the case of Paul George, C.J. Miles had publicly come out and said, "This is my team now," with Paul George still on the team of the Pacers. Jimmy Butler was quote unquote shocked by the news, even though I can't quite blame the Bulls because they were kind of in limbo anyways. Chris Paul, really, what are you signing up for 4 to 5 more years of I respect him for going out and giving it a shot. But in the places that they leave behind, the dust of where they are leaving from, which organization do you find to have gotten the best deal?
Best deal was Chicago.
Really?
Yes. I think that one was by far and away the best deal.
You are on an island, my friend.
Zach LaVine, if he can stay healthy, and obviously that is the
biggest asterisk in
that is
sport.
That is a big if, especially because LaVine has had severe injury problems.
But he always makes it back for the dunk contest.
He always comes back. But so I think that if he is healthy, he's not necessarily a top 5 point guard by any means, but he is, or top 5 shooting guard or what. But he is a good
like a power forward, isn't he? Like an athletic power.
LaVine?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the other. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Zach LaVine, I think, could definitely be a fringe all-star player in the future if he can stay healthy with that athleticism. And
we're talking like the dirty end of the tablecloth, but yes.
Maybe I think he might, if he has one outstanding year, get voted in, depending upon how it looks going forward. He's still really young, and he has incredible athleticism, and he's starting to learn how to shoot. And then the other player they got, Chris Dunn, again, he's a good player who's going to play defense. He still needs to develop on the offensive side of the ball, but he can play defense. And then I think they swap picks.
Yes, that to me is the defining role of the incompetency of the Bulls. They weren't even able to garner an actual. They didn't get a number 1 pick. They swapped places. That in and of itself, the fact that you weren't able to get a first-round pick or a standalone pick, to me, is a complete failure if you're an organization.
And yeah, I don't think that their trade was amazing, but I think it was the best out of the three. Oklahoma City got just absolutely robbed the Pacers.
Yeah.
I don't know who okayed that trade for Indiana, but they should be fired on the spot.
Well, to me, I've never understood the idea of what all this hate for Kevin Love is. Especially when the Cavs traded for Kevin Love, at the time I didn't even... That's probably the best trade of in recent memory I can think of for a player who's getting ready to leave in a contract year. That's probably the best deal in the recent memory of all those types of deals that we've seen in a while. And because of that, I would say that if you're able to get Kevin Love and somewhat reestablish his trade value, as low as it is now, it's still really good. And the fact that you have him on a negotiable contract, a manageable contract in this new cap-held given landscape that we're in the NBA right now, the fact that you're able to acquire him for Paul George, as well as probably get a couple assets, I would have thought that, to me, that's a much better deal. There's a lot of better deals, but that's probably the best deal that you could get for a Paul George.
Was Kevin Love?
Just
even though they didn't get Kevin Love?
I'm saying that if they could have, it's reported everywhere that was offered, and that they even had a 3-way trade.
You're saying that would have been a better trade
than what eventually they got,
yes.
which was a trash bag and a bag of chips.
You got Oladipo, who has a worse contract than Paul George.
They're saving money by doing this, yes.
Yeah, and you got Sabonis, who has potential, but that's really it.
Enes Kanter was playing more minutes than Sabonis, and in the playoffs, and for some reason, that to me is an indictment upon you as a player. If you're playing as bad as Enes Kanter was, and they can't even put you in to stop the bleeding.
So, I just don't understand what Indy was thinking, what they were doing, because I guarantee you there was no way they weren't offering. There wasn't somebody offering something better than that for Paul George. No way.
And see, it's funny because these moves are so interpretive, where you find the Kings-Pelicans deal of Boogie Cousins, where you find that to be a better than everybody's giving it credit for deal.
Oh, Kings won that trade.
Yeah,
by a landslide.
By a landslide, he says. Well, you see that as a win. I think it's become imperative that if you're a franchise and you're stuck with these star players who are leaving within a year, I think you have to deal them or be stuck like Utah with Gordon Hayward, who now leaves you high and dry in the long list of players that are going to leave you high and dry, as many players have in the past and will continue to do so. I don't know why or how these organizations keep getting blindsided by these players leaving them and get nothing in return.
To be fair, with the Utah situation, I do think, yes, specifically just the Utah situation here, I understand why they thought, especially so many teams nowadays, with how the new CBA is structured, which is a joke, so many teams think that because they can offer more money that they have a better shot. And to be fair, that's a valid reason, because they can offer a substantial amount more than what other teams can if they're the ones who drafted them, like this case was with Utah and Hayward. I think that in that case, you had no indication to think that Hayward was really going to leave you high and dry when you had a successful season for the most part that involved injuries, and you can offer him the most money. So I think Utah, I don't necessarily blame them for not trying to trade Gordon Hayward, because I think that they were confident enough that they could make a deal in the offseason. But other teams, I agree, you see this too often. And I think the Sacramento and Cousins is a little unique, because Cousins said all along he wanted to stay. He wanted the extra money. So you knew you could have kept him, but more teams needed to realize either A, lock those extensions up as early as possible, or B, you got to start trading stars their last year. And even then, you run into the risk of, well, if he's on the trade block now, why should we give up that much for him if we can make a run at him in free agency? So there's so many different factors that this new CBA has thrown in that it's impossible for a franchise to make the right move anymore.
So let me ask you, because there's two sides to the coin of this question I'm going to ask you, but I'll ask you the positive first. To you, what was the most pleasant surprise signing in all of free agency for you? Which was the best move by either a player or an organization for you, where you were like, oh, that happened? That's actually a really good move.
I don't know if there was any major moves, to be honest.
Right, all the big ones.
I think all the big moves were bad moves.
So Gordon Hayward, you didn't like?
Didn't like it because you're giving up Olynyk. You're gonna have to trade Crowder, Bradley, or Smart, or possibly even multiple ones. You're giving up a lot of depth. And now you're pretty much locking yourself in with Hayward to where for the next several off seasons, you're going to have no cap space. And so you're not going to be able to make any improvements you might need to make.
So for you, then, the best signing in the offseason has to be P.J. Tucker, right? Going to Houston on a 4-year, $32 million hard-earned contract.
In all honesty, that's one of the better ones.
For the Rockets, you're saying?
For the Rockets.
Yeah.
You're picking up a good veteran.
I do say that facetiously, but in all honesty, it's reasonable, especially in this NBA climate.
You're picking up a 3-and-D player who's a veteran who has a winning attitude wherever he goes, even if he can't necessarily even if he doesn't necessarily go to a winning team like he started with in Phoenix. So I think that was a good deal for both sides. I liked what the Kings were doing. They've signed Vince Carter, Zach Randolph, and George Hill to 1, 2, and 3-year contracts, and I think that's a good. They're bringing in mentors to help their young core grow and develop. So I think that they made some really good moves with good contracts because once those veterans slowly phase out, they'll be able to bring in extensions for their young core. So they're doing this smart from a years and cap standpoint.
You know who my favorite one was? Just just pleasantly surprised, and to me it works out perfect for both parties involved. J.J. Redick going to the Philadelphia 76ers. I know it's a weird one, and it kind of is outside the box, but 1 year, $23 million. That to me is probably the perfect match as far as fulfills that mentorship role, gives you shooting, gives you what you're sorely lacking for if you're the Philadelphia 76ers. Doesn't lock you up long term, especially when you have that young core group who especially you need to groom Fultz, the number 1 overall pick this year. Mm-hmm. So it gives you a definite veteran reprieve in that respect. And everybody expected that to be an awful contract just waiting to happen. Just somebody was going to overpay 5 years, max contract for J.J. Redick, who's done whatever. But at a 1 year, $23 million, I think that suffices both parties. What do you think?
I think it's a little weird still. I don't think it's a bad trade. I don't think it's a bad signing in any way.
Really, in any form and fashion, if you can get a 1 year deal with any of these players, that to me is a good sign because at worst, if it fails, you're done the next year.
Yeah, I mean it is a lot of money to give JJ, but like you said, it's only for 1 year. I do think, and even he, I think, is basically taking this, and then next year he'll sign some veterans minimum with Cleveland or Golden State and go chase a ring.
You know, my favorite move of the offseason was from the Lakers, was with getting rid of that Timofey Mozgov contract.
Oh.
I thought that was an albatross of a contract that was never, ever going to be moved. Much akin to how I thought Derrick Rose's final year on this contract was never, ever going to be moved, and lo and behold, I was wrong. But, you know, Timofey Mozgov, Luol Deng, and who's the center for the Knicks? He used to play on the Bulls. Has the ponytail, man bun. Oh, you're...
Louis Amundsen?
No. Gary, help me out.
Center used to play on the Knicks?
Center's playing on the Knicks right now.
Graduated from Florida.
Yeah,
Joakim Noah?
Joakim Noah. That is an awful contract.
Yeah, it's
and Chandler Parsons. Those are the starting 5 of the worst contracts currently in the NBA, and I can't believe that they were able to somehow get rid of that. Okay, so then let's flip it. Let's flip it on its side. Which contract was like the worst disappointment for you? Either be it from the player's point of view, the organization's point of view, maybe a mix.
It's gonna sound weird saying this player, Blake Griffin.
Oh my gosh!
I think for 2 totally different reasons.
Okay,
though.
go ahead.
I think you just don't like Blake Griffin as a player.
He's my Chris Pratt for Gary.
I personally think that he is worthy of the money and the time.
Okay.
Just
the wrong fit.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. We haven't heard that since the late 80s.
I know.
Joe, man.
LA really needed to just blow it up and restart, or at least get something that can realistically be a third player for Blake and DeAndre Jordan, but they didn't. They got role players. And so realistically, I think what you did was get rid of one leader and then say, okay, Blake, it's your team. I mean, technically it's been your team anyways, but now it's really your team. I know you only play 60 games a year because you get hurt a lot, but it's your team. But we don't have anyone to back you up.
But it's your team.
And it was ridiculous. I think they should have just cut their losses, trade him away to get something back.
Say, is the loan saving grace if they trade him by like December?
Yeah, if they do some sort of trade, and I don't think they will now that they signed him to such a contract. But I do think that that's what they need to do is just trade him, get assets, rebuild.
Theoretically, they can do something along the lines of trading him to Boston midseason because. Again, the Celtics are having to find ways to incorporate Gordon Hayward's contract, so they would have to get creative and do a sign and trade anyways for Blake Griffin. But now they could just outright acquire him, and with that treasure trove of picks, there's a lot of fun mix and matches that they can do.
But that's another problem is they're so strapped for the cap
already.
Yeah, they would have to trade so much more of their depth and picks that I don't think that they could. I still don't think that they could fit Blake's contract. And that, I mean, if we have time, that's something I'd like to get into, is the NBA, in an attempt to make homegrown teams more of a thing, has completely ruined the NBA situation in terms of contracts.
In the grand scheme of things, you don't see this as a hiccup, the blip in a heart monitor. You don't see this as the albatross?
Not at all. When you start doing things like max contracts and you do your weird combination of hard cap / soft cap / Nene can't get this deal because of how old he is, sort of loopholes. Did you hear about that?
I did. They had agreed to a 4-year
deal,
and then due to a weird age rule, they had to renege on that contract.
If you're like 38 or older or something, you can't have a certain
multiple-year contract,
which is just idiotic. It wasn't even that because he ended up signing a 3-year contract.
Right.
It was just you couldn't have a 4-year contract, and they've done so many loopholes and turnarounds that. It's just really made things so complicated. And, you can say, well, if the home team can offer more money, then that means they'll just stay with the home team. Kevin Durant didn't. Gordon Hayward didn't. There's no real evidence to suggest that is a hard and fast rule. And so I think overall, in this attempt to make it better, they've just made it worse. I would like to think that if they do some form of soft cap like what baseball does, do contracts like baseball does. Don't make it you can only make a certain amount each year.
Well, but Luke, I think it's going more towards the way of the quarterback in the NFL, where there is no longer the amount of money that is available to each team, and now they're adjusting, trying to appropriately create an ecosystem that is used to what they is appropriate to what they used to have. No matter what, things are going to change, and I think that a middle class is just being wiped out within the NBA. So much like in the quarterbacks of the NFL, they're pay-wise, you're either paid as an elite quarterback or a backup quarterback. That there's very rare in the day do you find a quarterback who is not in who is in that middle, making around $10 million per year average. Same as in NBA. There's you're very either you shoot the three ball and you can command top dollar on the open market, or you're a big man who's unathletic and cashed in earlier.
But see, to me, there's the biggest difference is in football you have a hard cap, and not only do you have a hard cap, you still got to pay 53 people. Right. So quarterbacks, I think, have more of an understanding. Realistically, either I'm elite and I'm going to get paid elite money, or I'm not elite and I'm not going to get paid elite money.
Okay.
When you look at basketball, people like Otto Porter are getting $26 million a year because they think, oh, I deserve a max contract. And since the max contract is different for every player based off of how many years they've been in the league and how long they've been with this particular team, and if this team drafted them, and if the media decided that they were good enough to be an all-NBA team, and this and that, it to me, it just makes it makes a wider gap. In baseball and football, you are basically given a salary, whether it's a hard cap in football or it's however much money your team can afford in baseball, and you're said, this is what you have to work with, go figure it out. In basketball, we're getting to the point where people are more like, well, I deserve max money. And GMs don't put their foot down because some other team will give them max money. So now we have players like Otto Porter making max contracts and taking up money so you don't have a middle class. When in reality, Otto Porter's worth maybe $10 million a year. 10 to maybe 15 depending upon how he develops.
Couldn't one argue then that's a good thing that players are making more than they're worth?
But only some players are.
I mean, because Otto Porter's making more does not mean that there's an elimination of a 13th man on the bench.
No.
There's still that position available to those, and arguably that would be the same player as it was before. I mean, Metta World Peace is, how old is he? Like 41 years old, and he's still getting a paycheck from the Lakers.
But we're starting to see this weird distribution of talent because of how cap spaces are. For example, Boston said, okay, we're going to sign Gordon Hayward. They then had to start getting rid of other players because they can't afford the max contract for Gordon Hayward. But they're still trying to fit him in, so they have to trade their other players, where in reality, if you could just give these players what they're actually worth, look up every single, you don't have to obviously right now, but when you have a second, just check NBA salary caps, because everybody's in such a bad position. And everybody's in a bad position because you have the same bad contracts that every team keeps signing, and then you just kind of switch them from team to team.
It's a tango of the tomatoes. I mean, you just have everybody like, oh, I've got like 4 years of bad contract on here, but he gets paid a little bit less than your 3-year guy who's getting paid a little bit more. Hey, want my problem? Here's my headache. Maybe I'll work better on your team.
You never see these kinds of trades happen in the NFL.
Well,
one. You had one, exactly. The fact that I said that and you can only think of one that jumps out to you
proves the point.
Proves the point. It doesn't happen. Because in the NFL, they pay people roughly what they're worth, or they're stuck with it. Yeah. You don't see...
You opt in to take each year as a contract. Darrelle Revis is not playing this year and next year as his contract when he signed it originally, because he was only guaranteed to a certain point. So you're stuck with maybe 1 to 2 years, and then after that it's manageable. You can finagle finances around of dead money.
And that's another thing is I wish that all sports would go to non-guaranteed contracts. I know it'll never happen. It will never happen.
Once you reach the plateau of guaranteed contracts, you can never go back. Which is why the NFL will hold out to its dying season day breath with players of where they're demanding and asking for guaranteed money. They will never. They will. They will die on that hill before anybody gets guaranteed money. Even quarterbacks. I mean, I remember Andrew Luck was one of the few that was bannered around of saying, "Hey, we might get the first fully guaranteed contract." It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. I wish that more teams would do non-guaranteed contracts, just because I feel like it's also a good way to avoid these kinds of things.
Yeah, it allows for a healthier ecosystem of finances and players too, because you as a fan aren't relegated to now, if you're a Brooklyn Nets team, saying, in order to get D'Angelo Williams, you also have to take the bad contract that is Timofey Mozgov. It's like, in one hand, I'll drink this chili sauce, but in the other hand, I'm going to drink milk. It makes no sense on why you have to, inject yourself with this massive amount of pain.
That makes as little sense as your analogy right there.
Well, not all things make sense, but I hope it makes sense to you, the viewer. And you know what? You can just mull that over in this little break that we're going to have and just really think about it. I want you to look up at the sky, the clouds.
We're inside.
And look and say...
And it's dark.
There's a bird. There's a plane. There's something that makes sense about what Philip said. And so mull it over. Thank you. And then this is the background music that we'll have all during the break during Give Me 5. Right after this.
Red Ribbon Realty Group at HomeSmart is a full-service real estate team of Phoenix natives with over 15 years of experience in the industry. When you work with them, you have 2 full-time realtors representing your best interests throughout your entire transaction, whether you are selling, buying, or renting. They also believe in supporting their community. Use code word chopped greens and Red Ribbon Realty Group will donate 15% of their net commission from your transaction to the nonprofit charity of your choice. Visit their website at www.redribbongroup.com and find them on Facebook. You can also email them at info@redribbongroup.com or call them at 602-888-6638. Red Ribbon Realty Group. Trust, commitment, home.
I don't know what that tone is.
So speaking of weird sports analogies, because, the ones of, you put a little too much mustard on that one. I never understood that sports analogy of, throwing the ball too hard or whatever. Because we had a long, major discussion of that during this Gimme 5 break.
Oh, did we start?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mom. Sorry.
My mom doesn't listen.
Well, she should. All right, and this is, of course, Give Me 5, the part of the podcast where I've got 5 questions for you, you got 5 questions for me. We don't know what they are, but we will answer them honestly. And we are joined by our studio audience today.
Esteemed panel of experts.
This is the Chopped panel that we have on
Don't disrespect Chop. Don't disrespect Chop in my presence.
And your presence is a present. Let me be clear about that. All right, just really quick, let's give a quick shout out to everybody here.
Gary.
Nathan.
Maddie.
Hey, everybody. All right, and I do actually have, maybe a game or two here for everybody. Maybe Luke does too. I don't know what they are.
My whole life is a game.
Yep, and
I'm winning it.
Yep. All right, Luke, do you want to go first or second?
I want to go second.
All right, I'll start us out then. Luke, Robert Downey Jr. is coming out and talking about his tenure as Iron Man. Quote, it's a cyclical thing. I could have said when the first Avengers came out, it's never going to get any better than that. Everybody stopped. But to me, it's always about the people and opportunities. Everyone says to me it's like a glove that fits so well. I have to start over every time, but I am starting over with a pretty solid base. I just never want to blow it for the last 6 or 7 MCU movies I've done by dropping the ball because I decided to do it one more time. He continued, I just want to hang up my jersey before it's embarrassing. The actor made his debut as the Marvel superhero in the surprise monster hit Iron Man in 2008 and will reprise his role for the 8th time in the upcoming Avengers Infinity War. Fans have speculated that it could be his final film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Luke, how much is too much? How many movies are left for Robert to play the iconic role before his performances become oversaturated?
What are we defining as he reprised his role? Well, he was in 3 Iron Mans.
Well, every time he plays Iron Man in a movie.
So even his little cameos that...
Like after the credits, no. But
he was only in the 3 Iron Mans.
He's been in both the Avenger movies.
He's been in Civil War.
There's 6. Where are the other 2?
He's got a big role in Homecoming, I assume.
Well, that's still only 7.
Yeah.
We're missing
this
one.
is his 8th. Oh, well, no, because...
No,
Okay,
Homecoming.
well, anyways, the point remains.
Point is, there's never enough Robert Downey Jr.
It's true, he did.
In all honesty, he fits this role like a glove so well that
That's original.
I know, right? I don't really have any problem with him to continue to do it. Now, once he starts hitting maybe like late 50s or 60s, maybe if he sticks more as a mentor role to make it a little more, slightly more realistic, because we are talking about the comic book world.
Yeah.
But, as he gets older, if he does less and less action, I would be fine with it. But, I mean, to begin with, Iron Man himself doesn't have that many unrealistic stunts. A lot of it is CGI and him being in the suit. So, I mean, I don't really have a number that would be too much for me. I just love him so much.
Yeah, and...
Shout out to Robert, your sponsor on the podcast.
To who?
Robert?
Jr.
Oh, yes.
On a first name basis.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you and...
You don't always have to call him by his full name every time.
Yeah.
Bobby.
You and RDJ, of course. Yeah, but this is not like a Hugh Jackman, Logan, Wolverine role where you have to be ripped to shreds in order to play the role conceivably well. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. theoretically could play it Big Hero 6 style and have a gut and just still fit into that suit as old as he wants to. But I kind of agree with you. It is one of those iconic roles where it would take a lot for you to be incredulous that, oh, come on, he's now selling out. Because he redefined the role, and they're now creating comic book storylines because of how Robert Downey Jr. has played it. So,
and even with him, even if he gets a gut, you can easily transition Iron Man to somebody who just doesn't do action anymore.
that's true.
And I hope that when they eventually reboot Iron Man, which I am 120% certain they will, I hope that he gets a nice cameo, nice little nod, like it's the original Iron Man.
Yeah, like in Star Trek when they had the original Spock.
Yeah, something similar to that.
All right, your turn.
Okay, so coming up soon is the MLB All-Star Game.
Miami.
Now, every sport does their All-Star festivities a little bit different. Mm-hmm. Football, traditionally, I think last year they did a few competitions, but for the most part, football really just had the Pro Bowl. They didn't really do that much side stuff in terms of competitions. They do a lot for the host city, or host Hawaii, I should say, since that's the city that gets it.
It's moved around.
It's moving around now, but for the longest time they kept it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But basketball does the skills challenge, the 3-point contest, the dunk contest, and baseball does the home run derby. So my question to you, what's your favorite all-star competition besides the actual games?
Right. I gotta tell you, this last NFL Pro Bowl, the Pro Bowl itself is unwatchable, but actually the side, games or conquests, whatever they were actually pretty impressive. Watching some of those Odell Beckham Jr. catches from the drone, it was actually really watchable as a viewer to just see him kind of recreate these impossible catches. And as silly and dumb as it was, those obstacle courses were actually pretty intense. The tug of war was insanely fun to watch. So I'm going to go with the NFL. They really upped their game, and especially since I feel this close second would be NBA. What makes it so iconic is the dunk contest, but I feel like I've seen everything. It takes a lot to upend what we've already seen. Okay. I've got a game, everybody, so perk up. And here we go. Lil Wayne surprised fans with 4 new songs on Wednesday, which he dropped via his YouTube page. Among the new tracks is his revealing freestyle over Playboy Cardi's single Magnolia. Yeah, that's right. I can be hip with the kids these days. While announcing the release of his 4 new songs in an Instagram post, Lil Wayne alluded to the delay of the Carter 5 and his legal dispute with Cash Money Records. I'm going to give you guys a name, and I want you to tell me if it's a rapper or a character in a video game. So all these are either a rapper or a character in a video game. Luke looks like he's ready to go. He'll go
My
last in this
time
one.
to be embarrassed when I get all of them wrong.
All right, here we go. I will now keep track. you're gonna have a start,
I'm
Gary.
gonna get that 67% again.
Yeah. Well, this is not your realm, so this is not Uber facts. So you have a little bit of a repeat. This is Luke's time to shine. All right, here we go, everybody. Bubba Sparks.
Rapper.
Video game.
Rapper.
Is absolutely a rapper.
Have I heard his song?
No, I don't know anything.
Yeah,
There we go.
There's one song that
everybody knows. Bubba
that you
Sparks
would
from.
know. I'm trying to remember the name, but there's one
It's
song.
one popular song.
All right, Luke's good. Here we go. Moving on.
Well, at least I learned something every day.
Dreddy Kruger.
Video game.
Nathan. Oh, he's stroking the beard.
Nathan knows
thinking.
video games.
He's going through the archive. You can see him filing away in his virtual index.
I'm gonna say
Rapper, Maddie. This is your time to shine.
No, it's not.
Well, to reclaim your fame of Uberfacts.
I'll
Right.
say video game.
Video game.
One more time, what is it?
This was Dreddy Kruger.
Dreddy Kruger.
Yes.
I'm gonna go video game.
This is absolutely a rapper. Luke, you're on the wrong side of the board.
Wasn't sure on that one.
And next one, Cyberwoo. Gary.
I'm gonna go video game again.
All right, Nathan.
I'm gonna go rapper.
Maddie.
Video game.
See, it's like when you have those multiple choice questions and you keep doing the same one.
Right?
Eventually, it can't be the same one.
So you're gonna go with?
I'm not confident, but I'm gonna go video game.
It is absolutely a video game from King of the Monsters 2. For those of you keeping track. All right, next one, That Man. That goes to you, Gary. That Man.
That, as in like that over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
THAT.
Rapper.
Maddie.
These are the worst names.
And they're real. That's the fun thing.
I'll go video game again.
Luke.
I was thinking video game, but Nathan said rapper really
So
confidently. So it's making me question it. Nathan, did you actually know, or are you just...
There is no questioning the judges.
Well, he's not a judge, so
He's a judge in his own right.
that doesn't even make
participant.
sense.
Anyways, Luke, your answer.
I'm gonna go...
That doesn't even
I'm gonna go video game.
Video game. It is a video game character from Guilty Gear XRD. Yeah. All right, next
I
one.
like how he picks like no-name video games that like...
Oh yeah, what am I gonna do?
Master
Chief.
No, but there's an in-between.
Yes. All right, Below. That's Beeeelow. Below. Gary?
Rapper.
Rapper.
This is the last one, right?
No, we got 10 here. This one goes.
Oh, we have 10?
Yeah,
Rapper?
that is a rapper. All right, next one, Waka.
That's 3 for me. Just Waka
Just
or...
Waka. I know there's a Waka Flocka Flame, but there's
All right,
Waka. Just Waka.
Video game.
video game.
I'm gonna say rapper.
It's just Waka.
Just Waka.
I'm gonna go rapper.
You are all on rapper, right?
No.
No.
Literally no.
Okay, half and half. Okay, I'm sorry about that. That is a video game character for Final Fantasy X. Or 10, as the kids would say.
Oh, I haven't played.
These no-name games. Yeah.
Oh,
All right, next one.
one big name game out of a series with like 20.
Afro Thunder. Goes to you, Gary. Afro Thunder.
Rapper.
Maddie?
Rapper.
That is video game character for Ready to Rumble Boxing.
It is.
Now he knows there. Yeah.
Drink a
Right when I said rapper, I was like, no wait, that is a guy.
Oh, there we go.
video system that came out before any of us, before at least most of us were born.
Yeah, I was gonna say, watch yourself, sir. That's a classic
I have
system.
never played
All right,
video games,
next
so
one.
I'm gonna have to-
The Locks. LOX. The Locks. Goes to you,
Rapper.
Nathan. Now he's going through his Nintendo 64 archive as well to
Yeah.
make sure.
I'll do video game.
Video game?
Video game.
Video game?
What is Locks?
The Locks. LOX. The Locks.
Rapper.
That is a rapper. All right.
Should be 4.
Next one, swollen members. Swollen members. Goes to you, Gary.
Video game.
Nathan.
Rapper.
I hope it's
Actually,
a rapper.
video game.
Oh, mid-change. All right, Maddie.
You better say what Nathan just said, because he knows what's going on.
Video game.
Luke.
Video game?
That is an actual rapper.
I said. You
Oh.
The reason why I
changed.
changed, I thought it was. Did you say swollen members?
Swollen members, as in we're all members of the Loser Club.
Yeah, you were saying rapper, and that sounded more like a group, not as one person. That's why I changed.
There you go. All right, last one, Paperboy.
I mean,
Paperboy.
That
I've
can,
seen the rapper.
All right,
Video game.
Maddie.
that can be like both. That's such a wow.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Video game.
And Luke, who's watching Gary's little hype dance.
I'm gonna punch you if this is wrong. Rapper?
For the final countdown, it is a rapper.
TV show Atlanta. I've seen that show.
There you go.
Paperboy.
And that was number 1 on the list that I was reading of stupidest real names of rappers. So Paperboy takes the bag apparently. All right, your turn, Luke.
Oh. Do we
He got
have to
so
keep
engrossed
going?
in it that he forgot he actually has questions.
I thought that was the character name from the game Paperboy.
I was wondering too.
That's the game with the other.
Okay, so there's been a lot of crazy hecticness so far.
Pollo Loco.
Not sure how that was relevant to any. See what I have to deal with on our podcast?
Crazy. He said loco.
And he's got me.
That's
Anyways.
how it was related.
I don't like you.
I'm trying to speak to the bilingual, portion of our.
I
Say pollo
I don't-
loco.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I want them
That
to
was
be
how
engaged.
you. That's how you engage them.
I want
Anyways.
to make them feel
It's
welcome.
been a spectacular NBA free agency so far. Baseball, with a lot of big names, most notably Bryce Harper, is going to be entering free agency this upcoming year, with talks that he could have a $500 million contract, which is a lot of money. My
That's the
question,
official count on that. Lotta.
my question to you: what sport is your favorite in terms of free agency?
Oh, it's the NFL. Just
Really?
year in, year out, it offers the most. I mean, in the NBA, this is for my enjoying viewership of the NBA. These past 3 years, ever since LeBron said I'm taking my talents to South Beach, it's gotten a lot better and more intriguing to me. But to me, when your biggest move of the offseason is Gordon Hayward going, I don't know that that's fun. But
That's the biggest free agent signing.
this year, yeah.
But I mean, I think Blake Griffin had some drama. It ended very quickly. But Chris Paul
That's my
had
problem, is that
Chris
a lot
Paul
of them
had a
elect
big
to
trade.
stay, and that's where's the drama in staying? I like a lot of movement. That's why the NFL to me offers the best, because even players that you thought were safe last year could go back on the open market. Great players that are overpaid sometimes become duds, like Nnamdi Asomugha, and the dream team of the Philadelphia Eagles turns into the lame team. So yeah, I'd say that the parity and the actual amount of good and bad deals are pretty even in the NFL. So I would go the NFL. Luke, Qatar Airways said a U.S. ban on electronic devices larger than a smartphone in cabins was lifted Thursday. Qatar Airways said a U.S. ban on was lifted Thursday, and that Qatar Airways and Hamad International Airport have met with all requirements of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's new security guidelines. The airline said in a statement, referring to the airport in Doha, the capital of Qatar. The U.S. introduced the ban in March over concerns that devices could be used to smuggle explosives on board. Luke, you just came back from a flighty trip. Did you respect the no cell phone rules I'm sure you were asked to adhere to?
Yes, because it's not hard. You put your phone on airplane mode and you take it off when you get off the plane.
Well, there you have it.
I don't understand why people make it such a big deal. Like, it's really not that hard. You put it on airplane mode. A lot of times, the Wi-Fi, either A, you don't need it because your flight's so short, or B, it's $3 for, like, your whole flight, unless you're doing an international flight, in which case, most of the time they provide enough in-flight entertainment to where you don't need Wi-Fi. So, I mean, I really just don't see any reason why you wouldn't just listen to what they say.
All right, fair enough. Your turn.
Just frustrates me.
Right.
So,
But frustrating.
July 4th happened very recently. I mean, within the last week.
Yes, it did.
I don't know why you're like, it happened 2 days ago.
Okay. We've dated ourselves as a podcast, but continue.
I don't swear to God.
Yeah.
And as per usual, Nathan's hosted their hot dog eating contest.
The most disgusting event of the year.
It's probably accurate. Did you watch it?
No, I saw all the highlights.
That's not my
you know
question.
what makes it gross? It's not even that they're eating like 1,000 hot dogs. What it is just the sogginess of it. When they put the
buns in the water,
buns, and then they're just like like turning sideways to get it all down their throat. It's just the sideways throwaway along with the soggy buns. That's not me.
Well, that wasn't my question.
Okay.
Here's my question. The winner, Joey
Chestnut, only got 3 more years to live.
possibly very accurate.
Yes.
Broke his own record at this particular event.
Yep.
He ate 72 hot dogs in 10 minutes. How many hot dogs do you think you could eat in 10 minutes?
10 minutes I've got, let's see, I could probably do a solid 2 every, I could probably do maybe, it's embarrassing, I could probably do like 6. Because I have to eat the bun. I mean, if I'm just talking
You wouldn't do the technique of sogging it up and...
Oh, the pain, the agony. I'd have to have something actually worthwhile because while I am not, some people are paranoid of puking and all things, connected to it. I'm not, but the actual pain of having to just be that bloated and be that just gross and have the sweat off of your brow. It could be hot dog oil. It could be your own juices. It grosses me out to think how you're just like this blob of hot dog.
They were saying how those professional eaters, the good ones obviously,
Of course.
have to train their body to increase their stomach acid when they do these things.
Yeah.
It was fascinating. Disgusting to watch, but the science was fascinating.
It is absolutely
they
fascinating.
more than double what your stomach is normally only able to expand 15%, and they train it to expand up to 30%.
And then
it's
think about it,
crazy.
you also got to incorporate the skill of those people that swallow swords, where you have to have a completely open esophagus to just fill it up to the brim. It's fascinating.
It's just weird.
Grossly fascinating. All right, Luke. Or actually, let's gather around chilling. Let's gather around. We got some drama today in the Kardashian clan. Kardashian says Instagram shut down his page on Wednesday following his flurry of posts attacking his former fiancée. Kardashian then brought his tirade to Twitter, accusing fellow reality star Blac Chyna of infidelity, promiscuity, and drug use. Earlier in the day, he posted explicit photos of Chyna on Instagram. Quote, today Chyna sent me a video after I just bought her $250,000 of jewelry, Kardashian alleged. Quote, she sent me this video of another man in our bed, and she responded on Snapchat with a claim that Kardashian had beaten her. The post has since been deleted. Luke, I don't necessarily care about all the drama, but I do want to know, what is the worst thing you have ever done in the name of revenge?
Well, let's see here. The worst thing I'd ever done.
Time to fess up, sir. If you're on the stand, put your hand on the Bible and give it up to the Lord. You're in the trust tree.
It's one of those things that are I don't get revenge. I know that's the boring answer.
You have some revenge in the Sith in you.
Okay.
Don't always take the high ground.
First of all, I hate you.
Gary's enjoying himself. He enjoys these ones that I'm having. Anyways, continue.
I'm just if I do something, I do it like right then and there. I don't really I don't think it through and come up with
There had to
revenge
be a
plots.
rude customer, or maybe somebody who went to, show off that he can dunk, but he's a really bad.
Oh, okay. I got it. I made an 8-year-old cry.
Oh, there we go. Did
Literal-
you steal candy from this baby?
No, this was yesterday.
Okay. Ooh.
So I work as a manager at Pizza Hut.
Okay.
As everyone here probably knows, and now the whole podcast
Of course,
universe
yes.
knows. But it's now the summer, so most kids are out of school.
Lounging
And kids like to think that they're funny when they do prank calls. And they're not, because it's normally the same thing and it's marred with laughter and it's just kind of annoying. And most of the time, the kids are old enough and smart enough to where they block their phone number so that you obviously don't have it.
Right.
Well, when you're apparently 7 or 8, you don't think that far ahead. So this kid called multiple times, same joke, something stupid, he would purposely change his voice and be like, oops, wrong number, and then he'd hang up. And then he did it 3 times in a row though. Never once blocking his number. So I wrote it down, and the 3rd time he called, I told him, hey, listen, man, this isn't really funny, and you were dumb enough not to block your phone number, so if you call again, I'm going to have to call the cops. And I had just hung up, and he called a 4th time. And so I immediately just picked up the phone off the hook and shut it down. I pulled my phone out. I restricted my phone number, and I called his number.
Oh my god.
And this dumb kid answered, and I said, hi, this is Glendale Police. I'm responding to a call about a prank call. Can I speak to the owner of the phone? Immediately clicks off. Immediately hangs up. I call them again because I was tired of it. They answer the phone. This kid is literally sobbing. I can hear him audibly sobbing. And I go again. Hi, this is Glendale Police. I need to speak to the owner of the phone. And I just I'm sorry. And then hangs up. And then he then proceeds to call us again. Says, I'm so sorry. Please don't send the cops on me. And I was like, okay. And then just hung up on him. But I was more than happy and proud to make an 8-year-old cry.
Wow.
The same thing happened again later that night. I wrote down, the guy was a little bit older. And so when I told him, hey, I have your phone number now. If you call again, I'm going to call the cops. And he was just like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I was just trying to have a joke. And I was like, well, it wasn't funny. And then I hung up on him. But the first story was a lot better.
Yeah.
Making kids cry.
We went to the Young Jedi Lightsaber Academy and they said, Master Luke.
That's such a stretch that...
What is happening?
What do we do? And then you
But-
just slaughtered the children.
But yeah.
You are not right, man. You're wrong.
That was a better one.
That was a
Good
stretch
job, Gary.
right there.
Not as much of a stretch as yours.
All right, my last one. Luke, the university, and actually, Gary, you'll appreciate this. I don't know how many other alcoholics we have in the group. So, the University of Texas Athletic Department announced a partnership with Corona Extra, naming the imported beer an official sponsor of the Texas Longhorns. As part of its relationship with Texas, Corona has adopted the slogan, quote, horns up, limes in. Yeah. Quote, Texas is proud to join with the Corona Extra team to promote the excitement and pageantry of collegiate sports, said Texas men's athletic director Mike Perrin, who leads an athletic program that started selling beer at football, basketball, and baseball games 2 years ago. The sponsorship includes access to the university's football, basketball, and baseball programs, a responsible drinking campaign, hospitality, tickets, media exposure on the Longhorn Network, and access to the Texas X's alumni community. Yeehaw. Corona has also has use of university trademarks for use in certain point-of-sale, social, and digital, and other advertising materials. Luke, smart move or dumb move for both parties here, and, probably more importantly, favorite beer?
Well, first of all, while I stare Gary in the eyes,
He's not a fan of the horns, man.
Boomer Sooner.
You gotta know this.
I wasn't going for
He's
the
an Oklahoma
favoritism.
guy. I'm a
No.
Texas guy. You can't.
This is something that me and Gary have been going back and forth
Like 6
on.
years.
Oh,
Since,
wow.
even longer.
Like 8 years.
It's been 9.
Ever since the
Since
Rose
we were in
Bowl or
7th
whatever?
grade.
Yeah.
Since the Rose Bowl, Vince Young versus Matt Leinart?
No, because
That was USC. This
yeah.
is just like a 100-year-old rivalry.
Yeah, this is one of
The
the
River Ride.
Yeah, Red River
Red
rivalry.
River
All
I
right.
mean, we're
So
both Sun
we've-
Devils now, but
Yeah, I mean, at
still.
this point, it's kind of taking the back burner, but it brings up
I couldn't read
memories.
that, you're like,
All right. I didn't even know what I was stepping in.
Yeah, but
Some dark
I
thoughts.
personally think that I personally think any move that Texas does is dumb. So I don't see why this should be an exception.
Corona's not even. I don't even
I was about to say
Okay.
that's my thing is Corona's not even that good of a beer. I would think, especially being in Texas. I mean, yeah, I don't know the exact demographics. I'm sure they probably do have a lot of sales for Corona. I would think you'd rather do Bud Light or Budweiser or something like that.
Your favorite beer, sir?
My favorite beer, it's not really a beer. It's more of a hard cider ale. But Angry Orchard.
You too there, Gary?
No, Guinness.
Okay.
I do like Angry Orchard, but I love Guinness.
I'm more of a mixed drink kind of guy. I don't like beer.
Oh, a nice strong martini just with a little olive. Just,
No, just like a vodka and Sprite.
okay. a man of simple taste.
Or pina colada. I'm not ashamed. I will not be ashamed. Pina coladas
He likes
are
getting
amazing.
caught in that rain. All right, Nathan, are you a beer drinker at all?
I am.
Or what's your
I
beer
like
choice?
Bell's beer.
Bell's.
Crafted
Oh,
out of
the blue one?
Zoo.
Okay. Oh, okay. There we go.
I will say
You drink beer, Maddie?
no because she
Maddie can drink
is.
half a beer and it looked like she just took 20 shots of Fireball. Like,
That's not true.
that is most definitely true.
don't
I
think
have
that's-
been with
I
you
don't
on
think
many
that's accurate.
occasions when you have drank alcohol.
Really?
Yeah.
How many occasions
Like,
have...
there's 3.
Not sure if that's many.
How many of everybody?
Well, so then,
Yeah, so-
there's not really. I know Maddie, and she's not a very. She's not a big.
I
alcohol
actually
drinker.
don't.
She's not a big
I,
alcohol drinker in general.
Yeah.
No, I don't really. I've
Drink-
had like.
you don't drink it all?
No.
Like beer bread, that's probably like your extent, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I really don't. I have like a weird thing with alcohol. Actually, I don't drink.
Fair enough. I don't drink either. It's not a weird thing. I just don't like the taste of it.
I do.
I don't
Every,
either.
You all
Yeah,
have
we-
witnessed. I
we
have
know.
been the driver in
Yeah.
such
Yeah,
a situation.
I personally have been thankful for it.
Yeah, I am the DD.
Yes,
I
we do know. Yes.
I will admit, the best beer when you're playing like beer pong or line wars or like some drinking game, PBR. I don't know what it is about PBR. I would never drink it outside of
Yeah,
that,
that-
as
that's-
Nathan grimaces
Yeah,
at
that
me.
is the worst.
But-
I've heard not.
But
up a counter.
if I need a beer that I can just slam a cup and then flip cup,
all right.
for whatever reason PBR just works for me. I don't know why.
Oh,
It
because
just
it's just like the dirty hose water we all grew up as a kids. Like
I-
you bathe in it, you drink it, you wash with it.
maybe that's it. But if I'm playing like
Just
something
add
that
some-
I need to quickly down it or down and then flip the cup or something, PBR.
All right, your turn, sir.
Oh yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so
Still trying to come up with one last revenge.
I have them. I just have to remember when it's my turn. So as I
What a
was
grievous error in judgment.
Oh, we
Continue.
want to keep going?
I hate everybody in this room except for Maddie and Nathan.
Well,
So just.
Luke, light side of the force. Ah! Okay.
That one was just bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I know. I'm not proud of that one.
You shouldn't
Your
be
last
proud of
question.
any of
Your
them.
last question.
I should have 2 more. I think you miscounted here.
Did I go twice? Anyways, your turn.
Okay, so with the with the MLB All-Star game coming up, we mentioned it before. The home run derby is going to be happening. Happens every year. A lot of times it's not the highlight, but it's a pretty popular highlight when you have people like Stanton who can just hit absolute bombs.
Aaron Judge is.
Aaron Judge will be in it, and he has literally broken stadiums this year several times. And you're going to have a few other power hitters. I think Cody Bellinger's in it as well. So my question to you, let's say you had an hour at an MLB ballpark of just people throwing you balls. Could you hit any of them out of the park as a home run?
How many? So that's for an hour. That's like what? you're at least at the maximum. You're getting like what 60? No, I guess you can get like what 2 per minute. So
I would say you could probably even do more.
yeah, so that's about.
I would say you could probably do, depending upon how long it takes for you to set up. I'd say you could probably do maybe 6 a minute.
Okay, so there's 6 a minute times 60. That's 360 balls somewhere around there. So that's 360 swing and misses for me. So
Oh, you don't even think you'd hit it?
oh, I mean, I'd maybe tip it accidentally, and then I'd say sorry, but I mean, it's not pretty. Me and the ball have, that's where my weird relationship comes in. You know, one bad childhood memory, and now I'm flinch central.
Okay.
So as much as I like baseball, for me, much more of a golf. Stay there, whoosh. Wow.
I also play golf.
Fantastic. I don't play it, but I mean that's more my style of stand still. Stand still while I mini putt. All right, your turn. Your last one.
So did you not accidentally skip
my
one?
Rob Kardashian and Texas Longhorns one after another, I suppose.
Is that what happened?
I think so.
May have, yeah.
I don't know, because I know it's I have a little placeholder here.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll see. Now I don't know because I don't have anything for it because we ended up talking about it during the podcast.
Okay, so then that's all my 5. I think we're
good.
All right, so there's our gimme 5. Thank you to everybody here for giving us a nice little listening audience there, and
A rice little listening audience.
oh, look at that! Look at that!
That's a real pun, everybody.
That's how we do it.
I used rice for nice like 3 times. It's the same one.
You shut your mouth over there.
Hey,
Stay
What?
in your lane.
I'm trying to go with something rice to say, but I mean.
Hey, Mom said if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
My bowl is empty.
And that'll do it.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
No, it literally
That was totally
Acknowledged
good.
it. And we were going against.
That was the right pun.
That was the rice pun.
You can't make
Wrap
your
it up.
own pun. All right. For
Luke, right?
I'm Philip Amerine. Thank you so much for listening. Luke Wright. Oh, there we go. That's the right thing. Thank you so much for listening. As always, listen to YouTube for all of our archived episodes and SoundCloud for all of our newer episodes. Bye.